This is Good Morning San Diego.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics has released the employment report for April. Economists are expecting about 180,000 jobs created this month. If so, this will be the smallest gain since December of 2019. Now, there are some concerns that many jobs could be lost in the near future, and that is the debt ceiling drama is not resolved within the next few weeks. Top congressional leaders, including House Speaker McCarthy, are scheduled to discuss the debt limit with President Biden at the White House on Tuesday. And joining us now to further discuss the jobs report is employment attorney Annie Ellis. Hi, Annie. Good morning.
Hi, Jason. Good morning.
What is the takeaway from this jobs report? What do we learn?
You know, there's been a lot of coverage over it, but, you know, me, I'm on the front lines, right? I work with businesses and employees every day. And I got to tell you, this jazz about everything's doing great doesn't match what we're seeing in real life. We're seeing lots of layoffs. We're seeing tepid hiring. We're seeing people being let go within the first few months of employment. Lots of warn notices going out, particularly for big San Diego employers. And so there's a little bit of a mismatch here. And I think if you drive below the numbers and the factors, you're going to see a little bit of a different story.
Really? How so?
Well, so take, for example, you know, lots of talk about the recession, right? The looming recession. Is this the one thing that's holding back? You know, we've got interest rates, big failures, and rising prices. Well, the one thing that jumped out at me was the 0.5% increase in wage rates in the last job report. That's significant in 1 month. Well, what does that have a trickle effect? You've got higher wage rates, which means more inflation, which means a complicating factor on whether or not we can hold interest rates, which in the long run is going to trickle down to hard-hit industries like construction and real estate. So I think we're going to see some movement here in the coming months, depending on what happens with wage rates and interest rates.
Well, we think of sectors in employment. We've seen like the tech sector's been laying people off like crazy. Jenny Craig closed.
Yep.
Like 500 stores.
That was shocking. Biotech in particular.
Biotech?
We're seeing lots of layoffs. But what's interesting about the biotech and perhaps the tech sector in Silicon Valley is those folks can be swept up pretty quickly by other sectors. So, for example, government right now is doing a mass push for hiring in social services and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And so what we're seeing is if you're highly skilled in certain technical or scientific areas, you are able to jump back in and get another job, but perhaps at a 20 or 30% reduction in wages because you don't have the competition that you had a year ago. So it's really just a very tepid balance right now between employers and employees and trying to get folks back into the job market.
What are the strongest sectors for jobs right now?
Me, law firms, legal.
Yeah, right.
Everyone needs a lawyer. We don't anticipate. You know the interesting thing about the legal sector is when the economy's bad, people sue. When the economy's great, people sue.
Yeah.
And so litigators are always going to be busy. But also on top of that, accounting and finance. I mean, you know, the extension of the tax season is going to be a big one. But we're also seeing healthcare. And you know, with the population aging, a lot of residential care facilities need a lot more help. Nurses still very understaffed. Ambulatory services. And so with those three big areas, you know, if anyone that has skill, you've got the upper hand and leverage in job market negotiations.
Yeah, that's good. And I'll tell you one sector I always keep my eye on because it's a passion of mine is the aviation sector. They need air traffic controllers now. They're going to need more pilots. Whether it's loading bags or working at the ticket counter, there's a lot of opportunity there.
And the aviation sector has some interesting things going on right now with unions and potential striking and what laws apply. If you're a pilot flying across 50 states, does California law apply to you? So we're going to continue to see pressures in that particular area.
All right, if somebody's out right now is looking for employment, what do you suggest?
Well, I think it depends where you are in terms of your skill set, but you know, apply to as many jobs as you can. Be very careful about your negotiating tactics. It's not as aggressive on the employee side anymore, meaning employers can push back. And so, you know, you don't want to go in and say, take it or leave it. You know, I need a 30% wage increase or something to that effect. And keep in mind introductory periods. There's tepid hiring. And so with these wage rate increases, a lot of employers are saying, we'll take the risk on you. We'll move you. We'll relocate you. We'll give you this big wage increase. But if you don't deliver in the first 90 days, this relationship's over.
Interesting. All right. Annie Ellis, anything else you think we should know?
Go Padres.
I like it. All right. Thank you, Annie. Always great to talk to you.
Thanks, Jason.